everyone, and welcome to Bourbon Bites Whiskey Reviews with an 80s twist. I'm your host, Clifton, and welcome to another Thursday night live stream. Tonight is all about samples. So I'm drinking some samples sent to me by some brands, some of them sent to me by patrons, and some of them sent to me by just subscribers. So first of all, thank you to everyone who sent these samples. Unfortunately, I don't remember exactly who sent each one, so if you see your sample featured, please let me know in the chat or the replay comments, because I want to give you a shout out, but I feel kind of bad that I lost track of some of these. So I know it takes a while to get around to these, but I really appreciate getting them, and they really, one, give me the opportunity to try stuff that I normally can't get, whether it's a regional thing or it's like an allocated whiskey, or they just, it's so fun to see some things that you guys love or may not like, and you want to play a prank on me and see what I think of them. So I just want to say thank you at the start for everyone who gave these samples. But I do want to say hello to a few folks here in the chat before we get started. I'm going to actually start with my first whiskey, which is the brand new Larceny Barrel Proof A125. So this one was sent to me by the brand at Heaven Hill. They send me, I'm very grateful to them. They do typically send me every batch of this. So as you know, at the end of the year, I will do a stream where I do a blind flight of the A batch, B batch, and C batches. So make sure to subscribe and hit the bell button to be notified when I do that. It'll be towards the end of the year, but yeah, I always look forward to that stream and the Elijah Craig Barrel Proof stream. But let's say hello to a few folks here in the chat. Donnie said, is this thing on? It is indeed, Donnie. Good to see you. Fred is here as well. Now there's someone to read it. Bourbon Noob says he's on New Mexico time. Yes, I was just in New Mexico. I had a great time. Patrick, Heather, Brandon, Francesca. Yeah, awesome. First time in New Mexico, so it was really cool. Brandon, speaking of Brandon, Brandon's here as well. Brandon, Donnie, and Patrick are incredible mods here tonight. But we also have some patrons showing up, like Tony Bag of Donuts. Fred says some of them sent to you by Tony. Yes, indeed. I do know which ones are his because they're the most recent ones. Donnie said, will this be marked as a paid promotion? It is not paid. I gave my disclaimer that some of these were sent to me, and that's about all I have to do. I don't get paid for them. I sent them all. You'll love them. Okay. If I forget, I'll just credit you. Yeah, Tony is still international, but Tony, I'm glad you're able to make it. Thank you so much for tuning in. Michael WMD says, howdy, all you wonderful whiskey people. Howdy back at ya. Yeah, so I know tonight's a little, the crowd might be a little smaller. I know Shelf Turds, whiskeychannel.com, shifted to today. I think it's just a one-time thing, hopefully. But love those guys. Go subscribe to whiskeychannel.com. But it's probably, if you notice some people not here, I don't blame them either. But all good. Donnie says, I am talking about the hat. What did he say about the hat? Oh, the hat? Yeah, this is Celebrate Reacher Season 3. Just came out on Prime Video. Check it out. Please watch it. Give me those views. But yeah, no, we had our launch of it today, so I had to wear my merch. So, Steve Burkow, good to see you, man. Hope you've been well. It's been a while. Hopefully you and your family are staying safe. Donner Pass Whiskey, hello. At work, so just drop in and say hello. I appreciate you stopping in. I do that for a few channels too. I don't usually enter the chat because I can't keep up with it, but I'll put on their stream in the background. So totally don't blame you, but thank you for saying hello. Biking Bourbon is here as well. Tony said that's right because he writes his name on samples. That's right, you do. So I know which ones are yours. Okay. You know what's funny is they were listing off like we can't think of who all goes live on Thursday. They're like there's Cam and there's Aquavite, but like I think that's it. And I was like, ugh. I'm not gonna say anything. I was in the chat. I was hoping someone would say, well, Bourbon Bites does, but it's okay. It's okay. Someone mentioned Perry, so he goes live too. What's up, Tony? I appreciate it. No, you don't have to just work. We can watch them both. I mean, watch the replay of one of us if you're not here for the live. Totally, it's okay. But I enjoy the interaction live with you guys. So yeah, like I said, we're gonna start with this Larceny Barrel Proof. I don't know how many we're gonna do tonight. A lot of these, if you saw the description, I definitely want to do some that Tony sent me. But some of the other ones I've had for a while and haven't gotten around to. So like I said, some of these might be older, some of them might be newer, but hopefully all of them are either really good or at least a good time. How about that? Michael says you have me on the laptop and them on the TV. That's fair. Well, I'll probably be drinking more whiskey than them because they feel like they like to chat a lot, but it's so much fun. I haven't watched their streams in a while, so yeah, I'll have to watch their replay as well. But yeah, so Larceny Barrel Proof A125, the first batch of this year, 125 proof or 62.5% ABV. This is, as always, the barrel proof release. They usually tell us it's about 6 to 8 years old. I don't see that listed here, but I think that's the usual age of this one. This, of course, will be followed by the B batch and C batch later this year. Oh, yeah, 6 to 8. It's on there. Yes, age 6 to 8 years old. It's the wheated mash bill of 68% corn, 20% wheat, and 12% malted barley. So retail of it's about $65. And yeah, I always look forward to this. I mean, I think it's bigger brother. I don't know if it's a bigger brother, but its older brother, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, is one of my favorite whiskeys ever. If you've watched the channel, you know that. But I do appreciate some of the lighter, more approachable flavors that you can find in a wheated bourbon. And I think Larceny is one of my favorite wheated bourbon mash bills of them all. I mean, there's some of them that go really heavy with the wheat, but I really like this one, so I'm excited to give this batch a try. What's up, Matthew Parks? Jack Reacher rocks. Indeed, he does. Yeah, season 3 is a lot of fun. I've watched it. It's really good. There's a lot of if you're a fan of watching Alan Richson and looking at him, you'll get to see a lot this season. Preferably some of the scenes where he is swimming in his underwear. So we'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. No spoilers. But it's just yeah, it's a good season. I actually liked it better than season 2. So it just premiered today on Prime Video. The Larceny Barrel Proofs batches have a wide range of proofs. Not usually. I think they're usually. I mean, I don't have. Is that a Bernheim? That's a Bernheim. Shoot. I'll grab another sample, maybe if I still have it. Those are all Bernheims. I have those because those are relatively more recent. Yeah, I don't have another one. Shoot. I'll leave it to the chat to decide, but I think they're usually a lot closer. Elijah Craig are sometimes all over the place. Adam Freeze here in the chat. What's up, Adam? Howdy to you. Hope to see you on the after party. If most of you know, but we do an after party hangout after every Thursday night live stream over on Patreon. If you're not a patron, please join the community. It's an awesome group of whiskey-loving folks. We're kind of like a big family there. So if you're not yet on Discord and you want to be part of the community, it's completely free. Patrons get access to some exclusive rooms like the hangout, like the movie night we do every month, where we watch a retro movie. But overall, it's just a good place to hang out. So I dropped the link there in the chat, and come join us. Everyone's welcome. All right, let's go ahead and go for a nose of this A125 Larceny. And I'm going to say the same thing as I always say on the nose of Larceny, is like, to me, it's so light. It's kind of hard to determine a nose. And I almost wonder, do I still have my Larceny Barrel Proof? Hold on. No, I think I finished it. Oh, okay. I thought maybe I still had my batch from last year, which I think was the A batch that I had a full bottle of. But I guess I killed it. Thank you, Donnie, for dropping the Patreon info. Yes, you can sign up there. Tons of fun, community-wise. Like I said, Patreon and Discord are connected. So Discord is where you'll experience a lot of the perks from Patreon. So if you're a patron and you're not on Discord, I feel like you're kind of missing out on a lot of it. You'll probably think I never post, but I do post. A lot of it's just on Discord. So I think that's clear for pretty much everyone. But I just wanted to, remind folks that it's a great way to hang out and meet some friends. Zopher's here as well. Zopher, good to see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Yeah, I will say this is the first bourbon I've had tonight, jumping in at 125 proof. A little bit intimidating, but, we got to go for it. All right. Cheers. Well, that will wake you up for sure. I almost took a nap earlier. I was like, should I take a nap or should I wait around and drink some bourbon? So I'm glad I didn't take a nap. I was actually going to look up. That does seem high. Like it drinks hot. So I'm kind of going to look at the 124 batch from last year. Proof on that one was, I found a picture of it, 124.2. So it was also high. Let me check the most recent release, which was C924 Larceny. Proof on that one was 125.1. Okay, so Brandon, to answer your question, yes, they're a lot more consistent. Although I don't remember them being that hot, but I'm here for it. I gotta go for a second sip though, because that was definitely hot. Mm. Yeah, wow. Honestly, again, this is just a first impression, but that's probably one of the best Larceny Barrel Proof batches I've had. I mean, it drinks like a I don't want to say, it's hard to compare it to like Old Fitz because it's their weeded mash bill as well. Brendan and I just had some of that on the channel a couple of weeks back. I think we or maybe we just did it. I don't know if we did it on the stream or not. We may have just done it while we were hanging out, but it does have that flavor profile, but it's up to 125 proof. Obviously, probably a little bit younger, but like that's a really great flavor profile. I mean, I think that's even an Elijah Craig barrel proof lover would appreciate this. It doesn't have the rice spice, but it has so much character and so much flavor. Something that I feel like Larceny sometimes lacks. So I am really impressed. Wow, I gotta go for another sip. I might be enjoying this for a little while before we move on. Hmm. Yeah, that's great. It's hot, but it doesn't like overstay it. Nope, as I spit, it doesn't overstay its welcome. It sits at the front of the palate, which I think is why I'm salivating a bit. Usually, it kind of burns on the back end, but this doesn't. It tingles the tip of the tongue, which is interesting because I don't normally get that on a weeded whiskey. Mid palate, about the same. It kind of just sits and lingers. Doesn't really hang out on the back palate too long, so it's not super long of a finish that way. But the fact that it's still lingering at the tip of my tongue, I like that. It kind of gives you that little like, like when you drink a soda, like it kind of makes your tongue tingle a little bit. It kind of makes me feel that a similar thing is happening. Obviously, it's not carbonated, but it's kind of a similar feeling. So, yeah, if you guys have slept on Larceny Barrel Proof for the past couple releases or years, or you've always skipped it, give A125 a try. I think this one, again, I'm not comparing it directly to any others yet. I will do that at the end of the year. But first impression with this being the first release, I am very, very impressed. And I will, even though I just have a media sample, I'm going to seek out a bottle for sure of this one once it hits my area. Do you guys typically see Larceny Barrel Proof where you are? Question for the chat. I know when I visited South Carolina, I saw it a lot more. I'm in Southern California for those that don't know, but my hometown is South Carolina, and Larceny Barrel Proof was pretty available on the shelves in both South Carolina and North Carolina, because North Carolina is a control state, South Carolina is a independent liquor store state. But Larceny Barrel Proof was everywhere. I don't know if they got every batch or not, but I find it harder to find out here in the LA area. But yeah, I like this a lot. I'm gonna have to seek it out. Patrick said it always sits. Yeah, he's in New Mexico, so I probably saw some while I was there. Didn't try it before that. This just arrived, so is that like Spider-Man's Peter Tingle? My Peter Tingle. He doesn't call it a Peter Tingle. That sounds like something else. Um, his spidey sense is tingling. That's what you're going for. Easy to find in NorCal. Okay, cool. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't normally seek it out because I'm normally kind of just okay with it, but this one, A125, is a great one. So I'm going to hold on to that until I get a full-size bottle. I don't want to drink it all. But yeah, well done, Heaven Hill. That's a really good one. Michael said it takes a few months to get out this way. Same with ECBP. Yeah, same here. ECBP is also hard to find, but that one kind of shows up faster usually. I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, off to a great start. So where do we go from here? We have lots of different samples. Many of them are on my desk. Many of them are in my drawer. Some of them are probably long forgotten about. I do want to drink. So if you, like I said, saw the description, I mentioned a few different names that Tony sent me. I want to make sure I at least get through those, and then I might move on to some of the other ones. Tony, by the way, you also sent me an E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof Rye. I'm not going to drink this tonight because Brandon and I have another plan for something that will feature this one. So holding on to that one. We're thinking about doing an E.H. Taylor live stream coming soon where we do the regular rye, the barrel proof rye, barrel proof bourbon, small batch, like single barrel, the whole E.H. Taylor available lineup. So if y'all want to see that, make sure to subscribe as well and hit the bell button to be notified every Thursday night, same time, same place. Would love to see a few more regulars here. All right, so since we're skipping the E.H. Taylor Barrel Proof Rye until another stream, where do I say? Tony, I think I'm going to go for... Tony, do you recommend I go for the EverNorth Arctic Spirit Rye first, or do you think I should go for the King of Kentucky 2024 16-year first? I know those are very different whiskeys, but curious if you have a recommendation for where I should start with these samples. And I know I've drank some of your other samples on previous stream where you sent like the Turkey 101 12-year. You've been really helping me out with the channel with some content, so I appreciate it, Tony. Brandon said you remember. Yes, I remember, Brandon. I'm excited. Thank you again for those recent pickups for me. I really appreciate it. Michael says always leave the KOK for last. Okay. I might just go off of that if Tony doesn't give me an answer real soon. I'll save it for last. We'll do EverNorth Arctic then. Peter White's here. What's up, Peter? Hope you're doing well. I'll go for EverNorth Arctic Spirit Rye. Oh, there's Tony. That's tough. I guess the lower proof first. Yeah, it lines up with that. So this one is called EverNorth Arctic Spirit Rye. Now, I actually had to look this up because while I've heard of EverNorth Spirits, I have never had it before. You guys probably know more about it than I do. I just know that they do some blending, some sourcing. This one says it's a 6-year-old Sagamore mixed with an 8-year-old MGP, finished in ruby and tawny port barrels. So that's very exciting, a mix of MGP rye and Sagamore rye. Sagamore, I know for a while was sourcing from MGP, so I guess it's the 6th year of their own distillate, like their own mash bill. Tony, if you know more info about this, please let us know in the chat. But I'm excited. I love MGP rye, I love Sagamore rye, and I love a port cask finish. So let's go ahead and get it poured. What's up, Emily? If I missed you earlier, good to see you. Emily's one of our other mods here in the chat. All right, EverNorth. And I was trying to find a picture of this bottle. They posted it on Instagram, I think, but it's like they posted it without the label on it. So I actually don't know what the label on this bottle looks like. I think I found there's a few YouTube channels that have a pictures of it. Well, here's a picture of someone very recognizable. Let me share. Oh, it's not pulling up. It's on EverNorth Spirits. Okay. Yeah. So it's actually. Oh, so here we go. Is this the Bourbon Junkie? Okay. That would make sense because I'm looking at the photo here. Let me share this real quick. I was like, wait, does he just happen to really like this whiskey? No. So let me share. Oh, come on. So here is a photo, of course, of Sean from Bourbon Junkies. This is a single barrel store pick from EverNorth Spirits. It says, be sure to pick up one of the EverNorth's limited releases, Arctic Spirit Volume 1. Arctic Spirit Volume 1 is their limited release port-finished 6-year rye at barrel proof. Distilled at Sagamore is a blend of 95% rye, 52% rye, finished in 30-year tawny port barrels, ruby port barrels, and a wave stave barrel. 58% ABV. Apparently blind at 1 against Midwinter's Night Dram, Acts 4 and 11. I'm excited. I'm very, very excited. So it is Sagamore. Yeah, so it's their brand. It's their brand. Okay. Again, these are samples sent to me. I don't always research them ahead of time, but that's good to know. That's really cool. I've never actually had any of their single barrels before. I've had picks that they've been a part of, but I've never had one of their single barrels. Very cool. Well, this post was from November of 2024, so it was just a few months ago. Custom mash bill from Sagamore. Very fun. Sagamore has all their own stuff now. Okay, I didn't remember if it was or not, but that's good to know. I think I might have some more MGP whiskey than anything else. I mean, at least for rye, 100%. Like most of my rye is MGP because I love that flavor profile. But I don't know. That's a good question. I've never really thought about that, Peter. Independent Joe in the house. What's up, Joe? Joe is another incredible whiskey tuber here on YouTube. So y'all go make sure to subscribe to his channel and tune into his videos and live streams. All right, let's go to nose the EverNorth Spirits Arctic Rye. Okay, definitely a whole different flavor nosing profile than the Larceny Barrel Proof. Got that rye spice is what I love. I don't know if they revealed the mash bill itself. They did just say it's a custom mash bill. They may not. Oh, actually, blend of 95% rye and 52% rye. So it's a blend. The mash bill is going to be somewhat of a mashup between those two mash bills. But that's very, very interesting. Let's see if I can get some of those port notes on the nose. I mean, on the nose, the only thing that's really shining out to me is just that rye, that like really bright, a little bit younger kind of a rye note, which I have no problems with a younger rye. To me, younger always comes across a little less. I don't want to say like less refined, but I feel like an older MGP rye to me is a very complex nose and palate. But let's go ahead and give it a taste. Cheers. Hmm. Wow. Okay, that is a flavor bomb. I see why it was compared with Midwinter's Night Dram. Now that I've tried it, I'm like, oh, definitely in the same wheelhouse. I mean, on the nose, I didn't get those port cask finish, but I definitely get it on the palate. It's a really rich whiskey, and I think those port casks are really helping it out. Even though it is somewhat of a younger rye, and it's from Sagamore, so maybe the climate's a little bit different. Tony's got the mash bill there. Thank you for that. 52% rye, 43% corn, and 5% malted barley. Just a guess. Okay, good to know. So it's a very low. I mean, it's a low rye, but it's still a rye whiskey because it's more than 51% uh, in the mash bill. I gotta go for another sip. That actually surprised me how flavorful that was. The nose wasn't really, blowing me away too much, but really like that flavor. Mm. Yeah, I mean, I mean, y'all have heard me say this so many times, but I think rye takes on the character of finishes in general, but also especially wine and like port and sherry cask. I think it really takes it on so well, even more than bourbon. Some of my favorite whiskeys actually are rye whiskeys finished in wine casks. So you can see why I'm liking this one. Tony, this is a really great single barrel. I think you said a single barrel. This is incredible. I like this a lot. Now, I imagine it's long gone. I imagine it's was available for a limited time. I know their audience is huge, so if you got one of these, you're very lucky. And Tony, thank you so much for sharing it with me. Because I mean, like it's almost like a pie on the palate because it gets you with that rye like rye bread note a little bit, but like it immediately goes dark, rich berries. Mm, yeah, I will say I could see that going head to head against Midwinter's Night Dram. It apparently won in a blind fight according to EverNorth Spirits. So very cool. Well done, Bourbon Junkies. I'll have to try more of their stuff. Not that I haven't thought to. It's just it's there's so many people doing picks, and I love it. I love to see people in our community branching out, getting connected with stores, getting connected with brands, doing picks. Um, Fortunately, most of those people are on the East Coast, so a lot easier than me out here in California trying to do the same. The logistics of it all are very complex, but would love to eventually do a pick. I've been a part of some people's picks. I've been very grateful to be a part of them, but yeah, never done a Bourbon Bites pick. I do already have a label design picked out, by the way. Speaking of which, I have a new T-shirt that I just made today. I haven't posted my Threadless in a while because I've honestly been lazy and not making new designs. But we have a new design. It's actually an idea that I had for a while. It's a simple thing, but let me share you a link. bourbonbites.threadless.com. It's the new It's Dangerous to Go Alone shirt. Take this. I'll share my screen real quick. Just want to show you guys. I'm pretty happy with it. There's also other shirts too. Let's show you. Yeah. So here's the shirt. It's Dangerous to Go Alone. Take this. Obviously a reference to The Legend of Zelda. But I also have other merch. I have men's, women's apparel. Got a Cliffy Bus shirt, Bike Club shirt, One Up, Do a Barrel Roll. All of these great shirts. bourbonbites.threadless.com. Got to do a little plug for myself there. Oh, Tony with more info. Not a single barrel. Blend of MGP and Sagamore. 1,300 bottles sold at the distillery and Patreon. Okay, that's a good point. I was thinking when I said single barrel, I meant more of like after they combined them, but good to know. Thank you for the additional info. Do I get coffee or pour rye? Why not both? I mean, I think a rye and a coffee would be kind of an interesting pairing. I would be here for it. Yeah, that's a great one. I'm looking forward to trying more. All right, we're gonna save King of Kentucky for last because I saw that in the chat. Always leave cock for last. So I will. Where do we go now? I do know we have some samples from our friend Todd. Todd is one of our Bourbon Terabyte patrons, which is one of the highest tiers. He sent over some samples recently. This one, it's spilled in transit, or one of the other ones spilled in transit, so it's really hard to read the label, but I'm able to decipher. I'm pretty sure it says Elkwood Reserve. So I typed in Elkwood Reserve. I'm like, please be a real thing. It is. It's a release from Bluegrass Distillers. It's a 9-year-old bourbon whiskey at 107 proof. It's a single barrel. And that's all I really know. It's there's only 3 releases of it so far, but they're all 9-year-old single barrels. It says at cask strength, it says 107, so I'm imagining that's cask strength. I don't know anything about Bluegrass Distillers. I've heard the name, but if you guys happen to know something in the chat, let me know, because like I said, when I do these sample streams, I don't know all the info unless, you're like Heaven Hill and you send me a whole whole press release, but I try to do some digging a little bit, but yeah, so. What's up, Swan? Long time no see. Hope we can see you in the hangout. It's been a long time. Good to see you, man. Fred said, isn't this from Tony? I'm pretty sure this is from Todd. Yeah, no, it definitely was from Todd, because at the same time he sent me this Watson's Barrel Proof, which we tried on a hangout recently, which is what I'm going to after this. But I'm really excited. Elkwood Reserve. Never heard of it. But I'm excited to open it up. Kelsey, man, been a long time. Good to see you here in the chat. Y'all go make sure to check out Kelsey's channel with Darrell and, oh god, I'm blanking on the name. Shoot. Frick, I forgot his name. I know who he is. Someone will correct me. Y'all know who I'm talking about. Swan says Bluegrass Distillers is fun. They made an apple cider finished one. That was good. Jeffrey Wack. Yes! I actually thought it, and then I saw Independent Joe's comment. I literally was picturing his face in my head. I'm like, I know who that is. Why is I'm blanking? Awesome. Yeah, thank you, Joe, for that info. Swan said they sent their used barrels to age cider and then use those barrels to finish whiskey. Oh, that's fun. It's really fun. Yeah, so like I said, I don't know much about this. I don't think it's finished. I think it's just a single barrel. I'm assuming they distill in-house, or not. Fred made a comment. The Elkwood is tricky to nail down. Some are 15-year turkey distilled at Buffalo Trace, but I also have an 8-year-old that was distilled elsewhere. Yeah, this does not tell me. It just tells me that it is a Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. I don't have the bottle, but yeah, I guess it doesn't always matter where it's from. Let's see how it tastes. That's what's most important. All right, on the nose. It's actually, it kind of reminds me of like a black tea. And that's a note that I don't get too often, but it's not like a completely crazy note. I've gotten something similar to it before. It's like an oversteeped tea, so it's taken on a lot of that like tea leaf character. A little bit like if it were a tea, it'd probably come across as bitter. But it does smell like a really rich black tea, almost a little bit like a sweet tea, because there's sweetness there too. My southern senses are tingling. I can't wait to give it a try. Cheers. Oh yeah. I mean, it doesn't taste too unfamiliar. It actually does taste familiar. Wow, those two statements were pretty obvious. But I was thinking about Fred's comment about it. It could be turkey distilled at Buffalo Trace. It could be something else. It's familiar in a way that I feel like I've tasted this distillate before. Could I tell you where it's from? Most likely not. But I have gotten that note on a brand. I can't think of what it was. Is it MGP? No, it's not MGP that I get that note on. Man, that it's still that like it's leaning a little bit leather, but it's definitely like a oversteeped tea. I was just gonna see if I could find more. I see the 9-year release they had, but this is sorry, the 15-year, but this is the 9-year. Let's see if we can find. Oh, here's some. Well, this is interesting because this one, I'm finding another listing for that one, and it says cask strength. The other listing I was seeing was 107 proof, but this one says cask strength. This is confusing. Okay, sorry. I'll stop trying to dig and research. I'm just saying there's a picture of the bottle and it says 107 proof, but in the listing on the seal box it says 120 proof. So that's why the confusion is here. But retail on this, by the way, was around $150. So, Yeah, that's really good. I mean, $150 for a 9 year, cask strength. I like it. I just think that price is pretty high. I mean, I really enjoy this whiskey. Mm, yeah, I mean, flavor wise, it's great. I would say it probably drinks like $100 whiskey, and coming at 150, maybe that was a premium for the fact that it's sold out on the official website. Maybe Steelbox added a premium there, but yeah, that's really good. I'm glad I had a chance to try it. I just feel like 150 is a bit too much for me for this release. Fred said, Adam has a Willet barrel from the VIP tour. There's an explosion of sweet tea. Okay, it could be Willet. It could be Willet for sure. Willet's one of those hard ones for me to pick up on. Black tea is a great note. Agreed. And thank you for dropping the Hello Again Whiskey Friends link in the chat. Willet, I doubt it's worth the cost. 99% aren't. I don't want to say it's Willet. I'm not familiar enough with that flavor profile to know. Todd will probably let us know, because he'll probably stop in at some point. And then if so, I'll have him comment on this video and let us know where it's from. But overall, really good whiskey. Just think it's a little overpriced. Let's move on to another one that Todd sent me. This is one I have very, very limited experience with. This is Wathen's Barrel Proof, which comes in kind of like a square bottle, kind of similar to a Knob Creek bottle. I've seen it, and I know they do a single barrel release. This one is a single barrel. I can't remember the store he said this is from, but retail on the single barrel picks are around $90. Let's see. What info do we have? It says same mash bill for 8 generations, 77% corn, 10% rye, 13% malted barley. It's distilled at the Charles Medley Distillery. They actually contract distill it at an undisclosed distillery, but it's a custom mash bill, so they oversee the production of this one. Definitely different. I mean, 77% corn is pretty high. I mean, really, really low rye in that mash bill. It's sweet, but that's really the biggest thing I'm detecting is that sweetness. It's nice because it's a corn sweetness, but there's a bit of a it's like a I don't want to say graininess, because graininess, when I think about corn, a lot of times that could be interpreted as like a younger, like a 3-year-old corn whiskey or something. It's not, but it's kind of definitely in the realm of a this is gonna be weird. It's like a corn maze. Like you're going through the corn maze. There's like some dead, the corn stalks. You kind of smell some of that earthiness, vegetalness, I guess. But yeah, it's definitely an appealing nose. I can't wait to give it a try. Cheers. Really unique flavor profile. It definitely has age on it. I don't know. This one. I guess this is a single barrel, so I don't know the age, but this has some character to it. I would guess probably around 8 to 9 years old. Really nice balance of oak with that sweetness. I mean, it's like I said, one of the sweeter bourbons, obviously from that 77% corn. Fred said this wasn't the new one from Justin's, right? It wasn't a pick he had recently. Yes. I think he said he first had one from Justin's House of Bourbon that he did not like, and then he picked up this new one and he actually enjoyed it. So, yeah, I don't actually know where the store's from. I don't. Frugal McDougal has one, which I know we were talking about that the other night, so it could have been from there. But that's really nice. I'm gonna go for another sip. Mm. There's a spice there, but it's not a rye spice. It's definitely baking. I'm thinking like cloves. I'm thinking cinnamon, but not overpowering. It's like cinnamon sugar and like cloves with sugar. That's how sweet it is. Or I guess like a brown sugar. I guess kind of fits more in that flavor profile. But yeah, it's got a nice oak backbone. I mean, this is the flavor profile that I like. Oaky, sweet, dark, rich, brown sugar. I mean, this is my jam. For $90, I would absolutely buy this. Now, I've heard that some single barrels aren't as good as other single barrels, but this one's definitely a winner. Again, I don't recall which store this is from, but maybe give it a shot if your store has a pick of this. I'm impressed, and I think it's worth the price of $90. Hmm. That one, I don't know the proof on it. I imagine it's up there because this other pick I'm looking at is 122. So I imagine it probably stinks up on you as well. Because it's not something that I want to like keep drinking. I honestly would say that the EverNorth was my one I feel like I would want to keep drinking because that flavor profile was so good and so rich. This one, it's good, but it's hot. It punches you. So Fred said, "Yeah, don't recommend buying any new ones. They recently switched over to super young Castle and Key. Oh, that's disappointing to hear." Hmm. So this one was done. This is a 2024 release, and it's 7 years old. So that's not it. I imagine they have the age statement on these. Do they? Doesn't look like it's part of the label. I would ask if you go to a store and you see a store pick of it. Definitely ask because I would hate to say I recommend this and then they're using young Castle and Key. Don't get me wrong, I like Castle and Key, but their stuff is young. So this does not taste anything like that. So definitely ask the store, ask them the age. If they say it's young, it's probably Castle and Key. It is contrary to still though. I know Castle and Key does that, but I mean, it's not all young. They've been doing that for. I was there in 2019, so it's now 2025. So I was 6 years ago, and they were doing it then. So maybe I don't know, but ask about the age. I think that'll be a big factor in it. All right, where do we go from here? We still have the King of Kentucky we're saving, but I feel like we still have some more time. It's 7:38. Do y'all have any suggestions? Do you think we should go rye? Should we go bourbon? Should we mix it up and go scotch? I can go into my mystical drawer of samples and pick something for you. Yeah, Fred said they don't have age statements on the picks, but you can tell by color super light. Yeah, this was not super light at all. It was a nice, good color. Like I said, my guesstimate is around 8 years old from what I just tried, and I'm seeing another pick that's 7 years old. So that definitely tracks. Brandon is saying no scotch. Brandon is saying bourbon. Okay, got one vote for bourbon. We'll see. What else is coming up that you guys should get excited for? I did have a brand reach out actually from Santa Fe, which is funny because I was literally just in Albuquerque, so close to there. They have a new release, but I kind of tried to sneak my way in there and say like, hey, would you like to send all of your products to either have me interview someone or me to review the full lineup? I haven't heard back yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. I've not had anything from Santa Fe Spirits. It is the same brand that did Colt Keegan. They actually are doing a rebrand of Colt Keegan. They're not going to call it that anymore, but it's going to be the same stuff. That was kind of what the press release was about, but they've kind of redesigned their labels across the board. So really excited. I've not tried any of it as far as I'm aware. So hopefully that comes through. Cross your fingers with me. If y'all have any local brands that, especially some of the smaller ones that you want me to reach out to and have, someone on, definitely let me know because I love interviewing people. Two, I love learning about local distilleries and different flavor profiles associated with different states or regions. So I'm excited to have them on, hopefully. Joe said, have you had any Estranahans? I don't think I have. I see it everywhere. I just don't know if I've had it. It's a good question, Joe. I don't have that, but let's go with bourbon for now. Fred said, I guess to the Colt Keegan. That's at least what the press release said. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe they'll correct me on the stream. I can pull it up. It came through here. Nope, that's not it. Here we go. Let's see what they say. On top of that, we've been busy rebranding. You may remember our whiskeys as Colt Keegan, but now you'll find them on the shelves under the original Santa Fe whiskey. So that's the new name, the original Santa Fe whiskey. I knew I wasn't crazy. All right, let's get a bourbon. Brandon said bourbon. Let's spin around the mystery whiskeys. I don't know what I'm grabbing. I'll make sure it's a bourbon though. That's not a bourbon. Oh, here's a. Oh, that's okay. If it's something really special that someone sent me and like I'm saving it for a reason, I'm not gonna accidentally pull that one. So let me finish that one. That is not a bourbon. Seagrass is a rye. GD 15 year. George Dickel 15 year. That's a bourbon, or they call it a Tennessee whiskey. I think does that count? 15 year George Dickel coming in at 42, relatively low proof. 42.2. My guess is that's George Dickel. we'll go for it. I haven't had Dickel on the channel in a while, so never a bad time to try some Dickel. Oh, you're one of my. I thought maybe I was wrong, so I got you, Fred. Let's go and try. It's bourbon. Yeah, I know. I think they the 15-year I think is the one that they actually do label as bourbon. I forget, but let's give it a pour. I'm gonna pour this all just because I need to get rid of some of these samples. Tony also said it's bourbon. Okay, I'll take your word for it. By the way, I was like, let me kill this sample, and I'm like, oh, that's a lot of whiskey. So this will have to make it over to the after party as well. I have multiple glasses, so we don't have to stick on this the whole time. All right, 15-year, 42.2%. I do know in the past I did not love the younger George Dickel release, or sorry, not younger, lower proof George Dickel releases. Let's see if I can find 42.2. This isn't like a standard. I guess it's a single barrel. Yeah, so these single barrels varied from low proof to high proof. I found another one here online that's the same proof as this. Retail is about $65 on these releases. 15-year-old, you get excited with 15-year-old whiskey. Again, it's labeled as Tennessee whiskey, follows all the categorizations as bourbon, and just adds the Tennessee whiskey, which is the charcoal filtering that kind of makes it uniquely Tennessee. But 15 years, that's a really good age on it. I mean, color-wise, you can see how dark this is. It's a really nice color on that. On the nose, sweet. Very, very sweet. I mean, corny for sure. I actually see the mash bill here on their website. Let me scroll down a little bit. 84% corn, 8% rye, and 8% malted barley. So even more corn than that corny Watkins we were just smelling or drinking. This one is like, I've always had this note on Dickel. To me, that's the most obvious George Dickel note. It's not gonna be what you think. To me, it is caramel corn or not caramel corn. Caramel corn, yes, but what is the white popcorn? Kettle corn. I always get that on George Dickel. Like, no matter what Dickel it is, I get kettle corn. Sometimes it leans a little more caramelly, like this one definitely does. But on the nose, I mean, that's like full on fair kettle corn. Freshly made. Yeah, really, really rich on the nose. Let's go for a taste. Cheers. That's actually okay. So I was under the impression that all of the George Dickel 15 years that were under 50% ABV weren't good. I think that was just kind of a reputation it had going around. But this one, it doesn't quite. I mean, it's been in a sample jar for God knows how long, but it's been airtight sealed, so it's definitely not changed flavor profile at all. This one does have a little bit of that mineral note, which I know is the controversial George Dickel note, but it's on the back burner. The first and foremost flavor is that sweet caramel kettle corn, and that's such a delightful, bright. I mean, this one over ice, I think it would hold up, even though it's low proof. It has like a viscosity and almost like a syrup. Yeah, I mean, it does have like the Flintstones vitamin that a lot of people say about George Dickel, but it's that mixed with like a type of I don't want to say metallic. That's weird, but almost. Because I mean, okay, listen, metallic is a note that I've gotten on usually Irish whiskey, particularly Jameson. I get a metallic note, almost like not like a copper, but maybe copper. This has a little bit of that copper note too. I mean, it's not my jam. There's other things I'd rather drink than this. I think I'm one of the people that is, it picks up on some of those flavor profiles that I don't love and can't see past them, unfortunately. I did at first. I was like, oh, wait, this is different. The more and more I sip, the more and more I realize it's George Dickel. It's not bad by any means. It's just a flavor profile that I don't really love. I can instantly detect when a whiskey is George Dickel. If you don't believe that, check out my podcast. I did an April Fool's episode where me and some whiskey friends got some blind samples, had no idea what they were, and I guessed that every single one of them was George Dickel. And I was right. So that was a lot of fun. But to me, there's a very distinct flavor profile. Definitely like dark caramel, vanilla. really rich flavors, but you get hit with that copper mineral kind of note that to me is just it's a little off-putting. I'm not gonna keep trying to defend my opinion. I think a lot of people feel the same way. It's not to say I'll never try George Dickel again. It's just the reputation that these have is pretty true. It's unfortunately, even though it's a nice age on it, 42.2% ABV just does not quite hold up. But I'll have to drink it on the hangout because I poured myself an entirely large glass of it. So, all right, let's keep moving. We got time for one more before King of Kentucky. I'm gonna use an executive decision. I'm gonna go. If I find another bourbon, maybe, but I'm gonna allow rye. So it's gotta be an American spirit. Let me see what I can find. Open drawer number 2. Lots of good options here. Ooh. Okay. It's the last little bit from our good friend Independent Joe, which he was in the chat earlier. Not sure if he's still here. He sent me a sample a while back ago of Russell's 13. Now I think this was the 3rd batch of it. I looked it up when I did a stream of this. I reviewed it along with the original release. I'm assuming this is like the 2nd or 3rd release of it, but let's revisit it. I had a lot of thoughts on Russell's 15. A lot of people considered it like their favorite whiskey of last year. I wasn't one of those people. I was so glad to try it, thanks to Tony, who is here in the chat. But it was not one of my favorites for sure. But the 13 year, when that came out, that absolutely was one of my favorites. So let me finish this, rinse the glass, and we'll try the Russell's 13. Yeah, Fred said he has a pretty strict try before he buys on Dickel 15 years. Yeah, same here. Thought I just dropped it. It's all good. Matthew Park said, back on, sun woke up. Oh, well, I'm sorry. I'll be a little less loud. Just kidding. Tony, I'm just going to leave that comment on the screen for a minute while I pour myself some Russell's 13. I mean, what I would do for more of this bottle is all I got to say. I really love Russell's 13. Oh, he is still here. What's up, Joe? Yeah, so Joe is like one of the most generous guys here on Whiskey Tube. He loves to share. I love to go to his house and I'm like, pour me whatever, Joe. I'm excited just to be here. So hopefully we can do another stream together soon. I'll give you more of a heads up next time. Last time I was like, so I'm in town. Like, do you want to meet? I'll give you a heads up next time. That was a last minute trip. Wow. Oh, I'm immediately realizing what I love so much about Russell's 13. I mean, it's interesting because we're coming from a 15-year George Dickel to a 13-year Russell's Reserve. Now, Kentucky, Tennessee, yes, high proof, low proof. There's a lot of differences, but let's be real. It's a very similarly aged bourbon / Tennessee whiskey. Brandon said you're hiding the Russell's 13 from me. Brandon, you killed my Russell's 13 bottle. It literally had a space on the shelf back there, and it's gone. And I wonder why. Just kidding. I gave you permission, but still. Someone wake up Donnie. Donnie was here. He may have fallen asleep, though. I mean, Patrick, I kind of did the same thing to you this weekend. Well, because, okay, here's what I don't like. And maybe some of you guys can relate to this. If you go to someone's house that has a large whiskey collection, and they're like, oh, pour whatever you want, as long as it's open. I am too intimidated, because, my greedy ass is going to go for a really rare bottle you have, but I don't want to be that guy, So what I want out of someone that's pouring me some whiskey, I want them to grab the bottle. I want them to say, hey, you should try this. That way I feel no guilt about it. I always feel like we're picking the bottle because I'm not an idiot. I know what's good and what's hard to find. And I know that they're willing to share it, but I don't want to be that guy. You know what I'm saying? Y'all got it. But yeah. Still, I love this community. Anyone that knows that's gone to my house, as long as it's open, you're welcome to have it. My only other rule is don't kill anything without letting me know. Because I'm happy to kill, like we said with Brandon, we killed a bottle of Russell's 13. But I'd like to, if we're going to kill a bottle, let's share the experience together. The only reason I'll say no is if I'm saving it for a very specific reason. For example, last year I had some bottles that were definitely contenders in my top 10 whiskeys of 2024. If you missed that stream, by the way, go check it out. and I had just a little bit left. So I did say no on a couple of those just because I had a reason and I didn't have another bottle of it. But yeah, if it's open, you can drink it. If it's not open, ask. You know, I mean, I love sharing whiskey with friends. I love sharing moments. If there's a special bottle that I have that's not open, just ask. Let's see if it's a good one. If I'm saving that one for something else, I guarantee you I can find something that we can open together and make it a special pour. You miss 100% shots you don't take. I know, but see, I don't want to be that guy. M says it's always fun to see what people want to share. Yes, exactly. I want to hear about what you want to share, what you've been enjoying lately. That's what my favorite thing is. We did kill 2 bottles of Russell's 13. I know everyone's gonna be jealous, but didn't we pour Booker's Rye? Oh, did we? I think not this recent time. Definitely not this recent time. We have. And I told you the same thing I told you the first time I ever had it. I've had Booker's Rye 3 chances now. 1, my local group years ago. A guy got really lucky and got it. 2, I got a sample from a friend out here. Tried it again, had the same reaction, best whiskey I've ever tasted. And then Joe, at one point, I think it wasn't this year, it's probably last year, or obviously, I think it was a couple years ago, he poured me some, and I just felt the exact same way. It's the absolute best whiskey I've ever had, and I don't think anything's going to change my mind about that. I really wish Jim Beam would make some more of it, because it's so good. Be careful what you wish for with Fred and I. You'll end up with 15 bottles in. Hey, no, I love it. I want to drink with you guys, and we actually thought about doing maybe a live stream with Patrick, but we were just having too much fun drinking. Meet up in Naperville? My whiskey is open to everyone. If it's open, I have too much not to share it. Well, I don't know where Naperville is, Tony, but I might take that. We did do the Baccarat. That was fun. Adam, I'm doing a dry week because of those guys last weekend. That's probably smart. That's smart. Beach Sand Bourbon is here. What's up? Good to see you. You made it just in time for the Russell's 13 sample from our good friend, Independent Joe. So we're killing the sample. We're doing some sample kill nights. If you saw the thumbnail, that's the idea behind that. Man. It smells so good. I gotta quit smelling it. I gotta taste it. Cheers. Man, Russell's 13 is good. I mean, it's a flavor profile that I don't want to say it's off profile for wild turkey, but it's like what the best of wild turkey can be. It has a lot of surprisingly, there's some rye, at least going back to the sample, and after drinking all the weird stuff we've been drinking tonight, it has like a bit of a rye forwardness that I like. Obviously, it's a bourbon, not a rye, but there's like a bit of that like spiciness up front, not the baking spices we got earlier. Man, that just drinks. I mean, it's hard to put this into words, but certain whiskeys to me taste like I've said this before. Tastes like a limited edition whiskey. And what I mean by that is they have the body, the character, the luxuriousness in the mouth that makes you think that this is something special. I've done it blind. I've been able to pick out that note blind, but there have also been a few cheaper whiskeys that I've gotten that on. I'm like, holy crap, why does this taste so good? Russell's 13 is pricey, but I think it delivers on flavor, it delivers on proof, it delivers on mouthfeel. Everything about Russell's 13 made it one of my top whiskeys of the year when I had it. Wish I could get my hands on it again. Again, I can't say the same about Russell's 15, but Russell's 13 is probably one of the highlights of my whiskey drinking experience, at least American whiskey. Same with that Booker's Rye. Cheers to Joe for the last bit of that. All right. If you know, I live in Illinois. Okay. I'm used to saying Chicago, and I'm like, oh, well, I don't know. Maybe he lies. Brandon, come to Memphis. Oh, the Memphis meetup was fun last year too. Beach Sand Bourbon says my palate seems to change daily. It's crazy how different every day is. Yes. That's why when I do a blind flight, like let's say I do a blind Elijah Craig flight or Larceny flight, I'll say today, this is what my palate thinks. This is what I consider my favorite of the night. But it changes. It depends on what you eat, what you drink, your climate, if you're drinking it indoors, outdoors. I mean, Patrick and Brandon and I noticed like a big difference when we were drinking Stag, an older Stag Junior release. We started out by the campfire, but we took it back inside. And to me, it tasted so different inside and outside. It was delicious both times. But that Stag Junior in particular, I think it was batch number 12, if I'm right, Patrick. Drinking that by the campfire just was an experience in itself. I think just the flavors worked really well with the smokiness. It was really great. So there's a lot of factors, but as long as you're enjoying whiskey with good friends, even if it's virtually and you're just watching here with me, I'm always gonna have a good time. All right, we're gonna whip the KOK out. Okay, King of Kentucky, 16 years, 2024 release, 132 proof. I need some info. That's intimidating. King of Kentucky, 2024, 16 year. Let's see what comes up. Oh my, there is a big secondary market for this one. Wowza, wowza, schnauza. Whew, that's up there. Yikes. Tony, you better not have paid that. I swear to God. I swear to God, you better not have paid the secondary on this one. We're talking four figures here. In the multiples of four figures. Yikes. Okay, well that doesn't tell me anything. That tells me like I should not drink this. I should sell it and pay my rent. Okay. I'm just kidding. But not really. I'm over 21 years old. Yes. Okay. King of Kentucky 2024 16-year limited edition single barrel bourbon from Brown-Forman. Proof is 130. Oh no, this one says 132. So this one's 132. It is a single barrel. This is the 7th release of King of Kentucky. Mash bill is 79% corn, 11% rye, 10% malted barley. It is a ultra premium bourbon that celebrates the brand's legacy. Wow. I'm enthralled. Okay, let me rinse. I didn't realize that this was going to be. Not that I didn't realize it was going to be special. I knew it was going to be special, but didn't realize I'm like going in for like something that could be my sugar daddy. Not Tony. I mean, I do have a bourbon daddy tier. If you don't believe me, go to patreon.com/bourbonbites. I have one slot for a bourbon daddy. If you're interested, let me know. All right. King of Kentucky, 132 proof. Let's get it poured. Tony said you know me well enough to know I didn't pay secondary. I don't know, Tony. You've also told us stories before where you're like, yeah, I spent too much on it. I think it was with Russell's 15. Is that not right? All right, I'm going to save me a little bit of this one because this one's probably going to be mind-blowing. So, Brown-Forman. Y'all know it for the distillery behind Woodford, the distillery behind Old Forester, but they also do some releases like this. I'm a big fan of Woodford Reserve. I love the flavor profile of that. Not a fan of Old Forester for the most part. So it's 50-50 if I'm going to like this. But I don't know what initial retail was on this. Right now it's going for $2,000. Like not just one website, like multiple websites has it for $2,000. Yeah. So I'm just trying to find some info on like what retail was. I mean, here, this will probably have retail. 350. Okay. So similar to the Russells, price-wise, originally. High roll is on here. I know, I definitely am not one. 350-ish. Yeah, that's what I'm seeing too. But I have some really great people I'm very grateful for in the community. All right, let's go for a nose of this one. I'm so excited. Wow, that's interesting. It's a little mellow, but it's a cinnamon. Cinnamon's immediately what hits me on the nose. Sweetness, maybe more like cinnamon sugar, kind of like what I was getting on that last one. A little bit of maybe leather. I'm trying to think if it's like more of a because to me like there's a tobacco note, there's a leather note, and then there's like an old book library kind of note. And those are all so similar, even though they're different. That on the nose, it's really hard for me to tell which one of those is coming out, but it's definitely a vintage note. Ooh, I mean, that's really great. I think it's surprisingly not much nose for how high proof this is. Like I said, 132. That's crazy. But that is like it's so crazy because it's like a delicate like cinnamon sugar, like yeah, it's enticing. It's very, very enticing. All right, let's give it a taste. 2024 King of Kentucky. Thanks to our lovely, amazing patron, friend, subscriber, Tony Bag of Donuts. Cheers. Okay, not far off from the nose. Wow, that's hot. Wow, wow, wow. Ooh, that one, that one is so deceptive. On the nose, it's like, oh, I'm just a little sweet little cinnamon whiskey. Palate, man, that is a flavor bomb. Still cinnamon, still sugar. Almost more of like a cinnamon, like a red hot candy or like a gum, big red gum. Because it lingers, it tastes a little spicy. The leather's still there. I said like leather. I think leather's more on the palate. On the nose, it was kind of iffy between leather or like tobacco. Definitely leather on the palate. That is such a bold whiskey. I gotta go for a second sip. Mm, man, man. You know what this makes me want? It's reminiscent of something I've had before. I'll tell you what it's reminiscent of. You see that bottle up there? It's a Knob Creek 18. The Knob Creek 15 I've heard has gotten better. The original one I had wasn't that great. That's an 18-year-old Knob Creek. It's 100 proof. This tastes like if you were to release a 15 to 18-year-old Knob Creek product at 120 proof or high proof. This is exceptional. This is really, really great. I see, nothing I would do it. I see why the secondary value is that high. You got to remember, I remember when the secondary value of Booker's Rye was like $750. And some people were like, oh, I'm not going to pay $750 for a whiskey. Boy, did we miss out, is all I got to say. I feel like people always talk about that, the good old days of bourbon, being able to find Pappy on the shelves. That's why I kind of get some FOMO. It's hard not to get FOMO in the community, but wow, wow, wow. If you had a chance to buy this one at release, or you have a friend like Tony, he hates it. Go by taste. You're giving yourself potential bias. I'm not good. Zopher, I did say the taste was better. Or are you just saying, like, because I said the nose was so light? Fred said he said tobacco so fast I had to re-listen. It sounded like he said taco. Yeah, I know. I talk too fast. I know. Especially when I get excited. I know. That's one of my flaws. You just put me on like 0.75 speed when you're watching the replay, and I'll probably sound like a normal person. But I get excited, okay? I get excited. Independent Joe has some tea here. He said, I bought a bad bottle of the King of Kentucky, but myself and a certain master blender agreed it wasn't a great release. Oh, okay, okay. Was it the 2024 release? Because I think this 2024 is awesome. Maybe it was a previous release, because this is the first time I've had King of Kentucky, KOK. But I might be into this cock thing. William Hall tuning in right as I said the tagline of the night, I guess. Sorry, I just had the King of Kentucky 2024 release. Delicious. I'm gonna linger on this flavor profile in my mouth for a long, long time. They are single barrels, which is a good point. So Joe, maybe the single barrel you had was off, which is unfortunate. But yeah, that's a great point, Brandon. Beast Temper. Yeah, so thank y'all. I mean, this has been fun. I got through. How many samples did we get through? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We went through 7 samples. Okay, that's pretty good for 1 hour. I think we did a pretty good job. High five yourselves. High five me. Raise a glass to us. But that wraps it up for this week's live stream. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Appreciate every single one of you. Thank you for tuning in. I know some other channels were live tonight, but I'm glad you made some time to fit me into your evening. Those of you that are patrons and are at the $10 tier, I'll see you soon on the after party. Everyone else, I hope to see you on Discord. If that's not your thing, just subscribe and hit the bell button. I love to see it. We're only 27 subscribers from 4,000. Like 27. Like if you guys just who's in the chat? There's 13. If every one of you in the chat asked 2 friends to subscribe, we would hit that goal. So not saying you have to, but if you have a friend or 2 that are into whiskey, drop them my channel. They don't have to subscribe, but if we hit 4,000, we're gonna have to do something really special. So don't make alt accounts. Don't be like Tony. But yes, if you just share it, like let's say you're in someone's stream and if someone's mentioning who all goes live on a Thursday night, then make sure to say Bourbon Bites does. All right. cheers, y'all. I'll see y'all next week. Until next time, this has been Bourbon Bites, whiskey reviews with an 80s twist. Cheers, and I'll see you the next time. Okay, bye. Why is this glitching? It's glitching. Oh no. Technical difficulties. We got this. And I'll see you. I'll really see you. I'll see you next time.